Just hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to connect live.
You had connected before. Why did you disconnect it? You connected. I saw you.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. This is BVI Channel 1. Hold on. All right, we're here. We're back. We're back. This is BVI Channel 1. Biafran Discourse, Understanding the Biafra Ideology. My name is Ndigbo. I'm standing in for Chinedu Asozo. In today's discussion, we should be looking at what exactly do the Igbos want? Because this topic has been causing confusion here and there. A lot of people want Ndigbo out of Nigeria. Majority of our people, I mean the masses, they want to go out of Nigeria, while others want to remain in Nigeria. So in this discourse, we should be having our dear sister, Ambassador Uche Okeke. She's well versed, well exposed, advanced, and quite educated. She will be here to discuss on this issue. What do the Igbo people want from Nigeria? So we have here, Chinedu is here with us. Nkiru is also here. You know, we'll allow Ambassador Uche to educate us because we are not informed. She is quite educated. So, my dear sister, good evening and welcome on board. The whole world is watching us on BVI Channel 1. So thereafter, we'll ask you a question. We'll learn from you, from your wealth of experience. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nemo Ambassador Uche Ajilo-Okeke. My people, Ndigbo, gave me the title Nemo. And if the COSAs call Nelson Mandela Madiba Nelson Mandela, in line with their traditional title, and the Swahilis call Nyerere Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, in line with his traditional title, before the word Nelson and before the word Julius, I would like to be known and addressed as Nemo Ambassador Uche Ajilo-Okeke. That is a very profound title, an accomplished Igbo woman of revered traditional title gets. Please add Nemo as you address me. I thank you.
I thank you, Nemo.
Thank
you. Always address you as a Nemo.
Chinedu Peters, Asuzu Chinedu Peters.
Good evening.
Hello.
My people, I greet everyone. Nemo,
Thank you
for joining us in this expository. And I believe Ndine, especially the Biafran enthusiasts and lovers of freedom, will be able to tap into the wealth of your knowledge. Because so self-knowledge, self-exposition in today will open our people to the path of freedom, the path of self-determination. And we are pleased and very honored to have you around.
Thank you. Hello.
Ngwa nne mmụọ gwazie anyị ife ndị mmadụ nọ na anaba anyị chọrọ ịnụ.
Daalụ na ụmụnne m. You know that we Igbos have been on a long trek like the Jews, a beleaguered people since 1945 when they began to massacre us till today. We have survived and we are resilient. You know that the Jews, it took them 40 years to cross the desert, which normally they would have gone like maybe 3 months. And you know that everybody that crossed the Red Sea did not arrive the promised land, that it was their children and their children's children. So I firmly believe that we will arrive the promised land as begun by our fathers. What the Igbos want in Nigeria is two simple, straightforward things. We want an application of the Yugoslav solution. The former Yugoslavia existed for many years under the famed President Joseph Tito in the years of Warsaw era, in the years of the Soviet era under Nikita Khrushchev. And it was a country that after the fall of the communist Iron Curtain was torn by intestine, enduring, unending conflict. But because it is in Europe, the Europeans got together and said, how do we end this enduring and unending conflict? What did they do? They divided the former Yugoslavia into 7 ethnic nations, ethnic identities. And of course, you know that Europe is a continent of ethnic nations. It is the Polish that live in Poland. It is the Danish that live in Denmark. It is the Spaniards that live in Spain. It is the Italians that live in Italy. It is the French that live in France. It is the English that live in England. It is the Greeks that live in Greece. So what the Europeans did is they now took the Balkans, the troubled Balkans of the former Yugoslavia, and divided it into Kosovo, where the Kosovars live, Albania, the Albanians live, the country that gave birth to Mother Teresa, Serbia, where the Serbs live, Croatia, where the Croatians live, Slovakia, where the Slovakians live, the Slovaks, Northern Macedonia, where the Macedonians live. So all we are asking for is the Yugoslav solution to de-amalgamate Nigeria into ethnic nationalities. De-amalgamate into ethnic nationalities so that we can have a holistic, cohesive Igbo region. If you can do it in Europe, you can do it in Africa. We Igbos do not seek to dominate anyone. We do not seek the Ijaw, the Akwa Ibom, the Bibios, the Efiks, the Calabars, the Edos, we do not seek the Biras or the Idomas or the TVs or the, what's the other tribe in Benue State? We don't seek them. We seek pure, holistic Igbo in line with the Yugoslav solution. That is what we seek from Nigeria. Apply Yugoslavia to Nigeria and you will have lasting peace. Since the problem of Yugoslavia was solved, there has been not a gunshot in Yugoslavia. The countries are developing very well. Nigerians now go there to look for visas and line up and washing plates and sweeping roads. In the former war-torn Yugoslavia, You go to their embassies, you see Nigerians lining up to go and sweep roads and wash plates. And these were former war-torn countries, just like the troop to Rwanda, a former war-torn country. So we are asking them to do for Nigeria what they did in Yugoslavia. Let every region, every indigenous autonomous region be its own country. If Yugoslavia disintegrated into 7 countries, Nigeria disintegrate into 50 countries. Let every people have their ancestral land where God put them and manage their own cause of development. That is what we seek from Nigeria. We seek not to dominate anyone. We seek ethnic nationalism for everyone. That is what we want from Nigeria. The amalgamation was done without any consent from anybody. No Igbo man signed the document. So we seek not to oppress anyone. We seek de-amalgamation of that document that has put us in this problem that we are till today. So we seek a de-amalgamation of Nigeria. Peaceful de-amalgamation of Nigeria. We want an Oduduwa state. We send ambassadors to Oduduwa Republic. We want a TV state. We want a Hausa Republic. After all, the 7 Hausa states are famed across Nigeria and in African history. We want a return. Let the Hausas have back their Muhammad Rinfa and the famous city of Kano. Let them have it back. So we want back our Igbo nation. That's all we want. Holistic Igbo identity. That is what the Igbos want.
Thank you. No more. This is exactly what Igbos want. But the next question is, how do we achieve that we want? Because, I desire to have a new house today. I desire to have a new car today, mint, chassis, but I don't have the resources to. I don't have the resources. Every day I have a new car, but all the old car, the question is, how will I buy it? I don't have money and I can't borrow money from the bank. So, Ndigbo, they want to have a new system, a system where everybody will be treated equally, a system where their human dignity will be respected or restored. That dignity will be restored. But over the years, from the Civil War up to this moment, we've been agitating, we've been fighting. So, nne mmụọ biko, nyere anyị hope na nke asị ka ụzọ anyị esi nweta ọ dị possible na anyị enweta ya during our own time. Thank you.
Yes, we'll get a restructured Nigeria. For now, nobody knows how it is going to be restructured. But the important thing is that the current regime has seen that Nigeria is being trapped and strangled by a parasitic elite who don't want the country, a parasitic political elite who don't want the country to be restructured because they gain. It is a kleptocracy that we run, where every politician wants to pocket the state. I remember my professor, Bas de Hey Fortman of the Institute of Social Studies in Den Haag in the Netherlands, telling me, you run a democracy of pocketilism in your country. Pocket the state. He told me that years ago, but I never thought it. So this democracy of pocketilism, remember that in 1973, Gowan said that the problem was not money, that it was what to do with money. But look at where we are today. So the steps are, the international community has a role to play. Nigerians themselves have a role to play. Ndigbo have a role to play. Before, everybody said, oh, the Igbos want to leave Nigeria, they want to have Biafra, they want to secede from Nigeria, they want to break up Nigeria. That is yesterday's school of thought. The Igbos are not asking to secede from Nigeria. The Igbos on the 22nd of January in Atlanta, 2026, held a historic agreement with the Afanifere, the Oduduwa, the Yoruba nation, where they signed the Atlanta Declaration, a copy of which has been made to various governments across the world. The Atlanta Declaration calls for the peaceful de-amalgamation of Nigeria for security and development. The acronym is called CODES. The document, I believe, is floating around the internet. The Atlanta Declaration, signed by the Igbo diaspora and the Yoruba diaspora, led by Professor Banji Akintoye, and the Igbo diaspora, led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, signed this famous declaration calling for the peaceful de-amalgamation of Nigeria in line with the Yugoslav model. Copies of this document have been made available to various governments, including the United States Congress, the Russian Duma, the Israeli Knesset, and they all agree with us that yes, that every country doesn't have to be big. We say giant of Africa. Are we a sleeping giant? We are a comatose giant. We have gone comatose. So you can be a peaceful country and be small. Taiwan has the 4th largest GDP in the world. It has no oil, but it is a very rich, small country. Northern Macedonia in Yugoslavia is the same size as Osun State and the same size as Bayelsa State, and it is a sovereign, peaceful country. On our doorstep here, we have Gambia. Gambia, I think, should be the size of Dugbe Market in Ibadan, but it is a thriving, peaceful country, and Nigerians go there to work. So why must we say giantism, old school thoughts? So what we are asking is for us to have a referendum on de-amalgamation instead of election in 2027. We have a referendum on de-amalgamation. If the government will not give us a referendum, give Nigerians a referendum on de-amalgamation, then we will ask certain governments to raise the issue with the United Nations Security Council. Remember that Donald Trump has started a body called the Board of Peace.
Yes.
He founded the Board of Peace. The main goal of the Board of Peace is to solve conflict endemic areas, the problem of conflict endemic areas. Countries like Nigeria, a problem of endemic conflict. Countries like Iran, endemic conflict. And other countries like Ukraine, where they have endemic conflict. And other countries like Somalia, where they have endemic conflict. South Sudan, where they have endemic conflict. And other endemic conflict areas across the world. All other countries are doing very well developing, and we are here using our development resources to fight wars, to outwit ourselves in nepotism, to steal from the state and enrich ourselves for personal gain. Go and tell me how many Nigerian millionaires have schools, third road, and hospitals in their village. I want to know them. I want to know the person. A Nigerian millionaire in dollars who can come out and say, my village is completely third. There are all fully equipped science secondary schools in my village. And everywhere has NEPA in my village. There are 4 industries in my village. And all the youths in my village have work. Show me that Nigerian millionaire. I will need to go to his village and see for myself. And believe me, I will bring members of the US Congress to come and see for themselves. When we match their bank accounts abroad, we come and match it with the development in their village. Let us see whether it is fact. So these are steps. Nigerians will have to request for referendum on de-amalgamation instead of election. And every region is free to go their own way. You mustn't survive on crude oil. Gambia has no crude oil. It's a peaceful, well-developed country. What brings development is peace. It is not crude oil. Peace drives development, not crude oil. Gambia is a very well-developed country. Lesotho, that is where Flavor and what's the other artist? That's where they go to shoot their films. In Lesotho. Davido and all of them, they go to Lesotho, peaceful, developed country, where they all live over 100 years because they have peace. They have Swaziland, peaceful country. That's why people go there. It is peace that we seek. Look at the peace that has since returned to Rwanda. Even Igbos are now going to pick pepper in Rwandan farms. Do they do that in Nigeria?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's give opportunity to Joseph. Joseph's hand has been up. Mr. Joseph, please, can you unmute and make your own contribution?
Okay. Thank you. Well, I think the equipment calls me Mr. Joseph, and I am Ambassador Ayalogo.
Sorry, Ambassador Ayalogo. Okay.
That's right. Nema, my colleague, has been talking with you guys. I've listened to her.
Thank you, Excellency. I greet you.
Nema, okay.
Madalo.
Well, she's made a lot of good points, but the question is, what do Igbos want? What can they want, or what can they get, and how can they get it? Sorry, am I hard?
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Yeah, let's go back to our history of relations with the rest of Nigeria. You will know that we had always wanted to be part of a stable, sustainable Nigeria. Our forefathers, I can mention Zeke and the rest of them, they wanted to be part of Nigeria, and we've worked hard for that. We've never been wanting a Nigeria that was broken up. I remember my grandfather worked in Zungeru when that was the capital of the country, and so on. And when Nigerian independence was being negotiated from 1952 at Lancaster House, Igbo played a key role, and they wanted to have a strong Nigeria. There were obvious reasons. We are like, and I mentioned, we're like the Israelites. We move around. We are dynamic. We want development, want growth, and a bigger Nigeria is good for us. And it's also good for Nigeria. We thought we were dealing with people who were happy with us until something happened, which a lot of you know from our history. One incident, some young soldiers who felt that things were not going the way they thought it should go, and they had a coup. Somebody turned it into an ethnic coup. It wasn't an ethnic coup. It was just people young fellows, I'm not speaking for them, but they just felt that things had to change, and they thought they were to do it by coup, and so on. If it was an Igbo thing, the Igbo had no business doing a coup, because we were actually on top of things. We were in charge, and great entrepreneurs here and there, administration, education. We were doing well, so it wasn't a selfish thing. But Nigeria decided to turn it into an ethnic thing, and before you knew it, they had started deliberately purging and killing, and a lot of terrible things were done. I would have been in my 20s, 21, 22 at that period. So I know I have first-hand knowledge and observations of it. And since then, that tension has continued. And I think it is deliberate because people who grab power when we moved out from the power, they have captured the state, and what we have now is what they want because it's benefiting them. Well, the possibility of the kind of Nigeria we were looking for, where you can go to the north and work and live and marry, go to the west, live and marry, has been faulted. It's no longer there. That is why Igbos are thinking that, look, if we can't be protected under the sovereignty of Nigeria, well, why don't we just have our sovereignty and we relate to all the rest of Nigeria? You can't run away, you can't carry Boland away. Your neighbors are your neighbors, but we will relate with them the way everybody wants to. Because you can't be killing us and abusing us or whatever, and then you say we must be part of you. Now, Enema had mentioned, Nasri had mentioned solutions, gave an idea of the usual Yugoslav arrangement, which is also true. In fact, I was serving in Yugoslavia at the time they were breaking up. I was minister at the embassy then. And we know the history of how after the Second World War, they were coupled together, groups that were never really wanting to be together. But of course, their relationships started breaking up, and once Tito died, everything started collapsing. But there was some little war, there was some tension, but they broke up. But there had even been less bloody breakups in history, because not too long after, you had what you call the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia. Czech and Slovakia broke up. So that is it. Nigeria can agree to break up or to break up, probably separate into sovereign country. That's one option. But we can even, for now, go back to restructure or treat Nigeria the way it was negotiated. What was negotiated was an agglomeration of semi-autonomous regions, which is why we had Eastern region, Northern region, Western region, then later on Midwestern region. They had premier, we had ministers of doing our thing. So we could go back to it, because that actually was to become one Nigeria come October 1960. It was a negotiated and agreed that this was the structure. But the army system came about later on, and the people who used it to seize seize state power have kept on holding it as it is. Ideally, after the Civil War, which lasted just for 3 years, 30 months, what should have happened is that we should have shifted back to the situation antebellum, that is before the war, because the war itself was a hiatus. It wasn't intended.
In fact.
Yeah. It wasn't intended. So all these are just background to strengthen what we already know. Now, what we will keep pressing for either this or that, total separation or go back to the restructuring that was negotiated and agreed upon by our founding fathers. Any other thing is just delaying, causing trouble, causing stress. People who want to run away from their country, people who feel uncomfortable in various parts of their country. That's not what we want. Now, back to what the Igbos need to do. We have an issue with Nigeria, but which can be dealt with on the basis of what I've just said. But we also need to get back to ourselves, because I think when I joined, I had somebody saying that you need to know yourself, something like that.
Yeah,
we need,
Chinedu.
Yeah, that's right. You need to know yourself.
Yeah, be concluded so that we'll give other people opportunity.
All right,
to
okay, fine. Don't worry. I'm no historian, so I talk too much. Anyway,
okay.
The bottom line is we have to work together. In spite of Nigeria now, we have to work together and develop our capacities.
Yeah.
That's the last message. Because if we don't do that, the others are looking at us, putting more wedge and so on. We can even become laughing stock or get into disarray. So there has to be that coming together, agree on our problems, agree on solutions, and work to solve all those things. There are many things we can benefit by working together for development and peace, at least in our region.
All right, thank you, Ambassador Joseph.
Ayalogo.
Ayalogo. Ayalogo.
Yeah.
Thank you for your contribution.
All right.
Chinedu or Joseph Madoka Dubisi. Chinedu, are you here?
Madoka is here.
Madoka is raising his hands up. Okay, you can speak.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Your Excellency.
Yeah.
Good evening, Your Excellencies.
Good evening.
Namo. Good evening.
Yeah.
It's usually an interesting discourse when the Igbo issues is raised. But I'd like to address it each time I have an opportunity from the perspective of the Igbo culture and Igbo traditional government system. Having said that, I will just brief by referring to the old Eastern region, which was then the fastest growing economy in the whole world. Eastern region was subventing for the other regions in the world, particularly the north. M.I. Okpara had a beautiful, unprecedented master plan for industrialization, agriculture, education. You ask yourself, yes, there was war. Yes, after the war, we were sidelined, relegated, pushed aside, given pittance of 20 pounds. Ask yourself again, what did we do with the 20 pounds? Today, they find it difficult to believe that the development you have in the Southeast is not government. People from the North. I'm going through this axis before I land on where I'm going to. We are industrious. We are Republican by nature. We are adventurists. We are very enterprising. The Igbo venture capital system is the only one recognized in the whole world as unequaled. They admire, Western economies admire our venture capital system, which is Ivana boy. The The West is copying it gradually. Having said all this, the war came, put us where we were in the 70s, and we started from the scratch again to build. The question is, since 1970, that the war ended, and we're scratching, struggling, building, developing. I remember then, after the war, because we all ran back to our villages. We didn't have houses. Most families didn't have houses in the village, but they had mansions in the cities where they were. Kanu, Kaduna, Lagos, about everywhere. Igbos had houses there. It was after I realized they have to look back home and build houses for where to reside when they come home. Today, Southeast Igbo land is littered with mansions. So, having done all this, and up till this year, 2026, all the governors, military, administrative governors, democratic or politicians that are governors, all are industrialists. Nobody has deemed it necessary to call a round table, to sit down and exhume M.I. Okpara's master plan. Sit down as a region, only the 5 states. Sit down, exhume that master plan, look at it, and agree on how to aggressively pursue this, that master plan to its completion or to realization. What we do, or what we succeeded in doing, is to continue to split ourselves, divide ourselves, go against ourselves. None of the governors I've not had any governor raise a voice. When rail line project was being done in Nigeria, nothing passed through the southeastern region. When power privatization was done, nothing. But yet we had Oji River. Federal government has not deemed it necessary to even look at Oji River that was serving southeastern region. What are they doing that the 5 governors cannot sit down together and talk as one voice, one people? And yet we sit back in our homes and come out and talk and talk and talk and go home. The same thing continues. Everybody's all to your tent, my pocket, my people. Until we sit down and know that we are one and then pursue a common goal, there's no end. Before independence, the House as a North was already frightened of the Igbos. I know a bit of the history. The North was first to say, we want to go separate. It was Britain that insisted they should join in the amalgamation. What have we done as a people? I can tell you with all certainty that Ndigbo, Tetanula Tata, they can ignore federal subvention allocation and develop people to compete with any country in the Western world. We have the men, we have the capacity, we have the resources. They even want Ndigbo na men obodo ndị ọzọ. Somebody, I'm no more talked about Rwanda, ravaged by war, destroyed, completely leveled. Today, America, UK, Europe are looking at Rwanda. How did they do it? The same 2 people that were killing themselves, Hutus and Tutsis, they are there. They don't talk about Hutu now. They don't talk about Tutsi now. They talk about Rwanda. Today, Anyanabara Kunye, Onya Abonye said, Okwanda Anambra, don't allow him. Onye Nugu Kunye ndi Abia said, oh, how can? Onye Abia Kunye ndi Imo said, no one care. Is that how we're going to go about it? We can't speak with one voice. When it matters most, when national issues are tabled, we can't have one single voice to speak on behalf of Ndigbo. Anayeku Biafra, Anayeku nation, with what is the discordant tunes. Yugoslavia did it because they came together and said, no, we don't open our and they split. There were some agitations, but they were drowned because everybody spoke with one voice. The countries you have that made up Yugoslavia, they all spoke with one voice and said, this is what we want. Until we do that, it will continue to be rhetoric. So I will plead that this thing that we are doing should be extended beyond this live stream. And we should look at ways of calling those leaders we have in Igbo land, particularly the politicians, the governors. Think about Southeast. Think about Southeast. Forget about Egiga, but forget about your state. Think about Southeast as a nation and do what you can. Ndị Abia mebe na Abia, ndị Anambra mebe na Anambra, ndị Ebonyi mebe na Ebonyi. All them come together. Those single things, those unifying things that we need to build on, we focus on them. Those economic issues that we have to address as a people, not Nambonya Anambra or Nonya Abonya Ebonyi. We address them and focus on them. Those issues that we know will consolidate our stand and our drive and our ambition to fruition, we pursue them. And not just, the other day, I listened to one chief from Enugu State addressing Tinubu for the first time. His Majesty, one of His Majesties, where they gathered traditional rulers from the south. Oni of Ife was there. Some of the not traditional were there. Tinubu was there. This man, Akudolwez or something, picked the mic on the rostrum. Where is Tinubu? That na, even Nemedukama, no na, Niagotaro. Oni of Ife no there, see Oni. Ndigbo in Achi, one of the highest chieftaincy title in Yoruba land. Kedive Diche from Ndigbo and Nnamdi Kanu. Vamu. Osi Tinubu, Iba Nkiti, Nyonya clemency allowed him to come back. Kedive Bata Nnamdi Kanu, na the same crime Nnamdi accused Nnamdi Kanu, accused Ndigbo, and the same treatment. Actually, Keja Punata Ndigbo from the Benin Republic. And where he because Nani Yoruba Bachilia. The same person can grant pardon. Nenye chieftaincy title. The whole Yoruba kings and Obas will gather and bestow on him Nnamdi Kanu no Soko. That's what His Highness said in Abuja the other day. Who has said anything like that? Even in Nnamdi Kanu. Governors, I don't want to be associated because they want their interest protected. Okay, CMA, just one or two voices in the Congress speaks on behalf or in support of releasing Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is apart. I can tell you that Ndigbo be together. We don't need federal allocation. We have the people and the resources to build our region. And they will begin to wonder, the federal government we can muster funds internationally and locally to build railways, interconnecting all the states, the internal, and link it to the national. We can muster funds to build power. Geometric took 20 years to get a license to operate. Now Abia is enjoying 24 hours of power supply. What stops the other four from looking for turbines to set up gas to connect to geometric power station in Aba? It can feed all the 5 states. Onye na-ekwu maka ya. Echinye na governor ndị Abia, Mamanda Anambra kunye na na-achọ power station. Nke ga-alụ, onye ga-enye permission? Onye ga-enye approval? They don't want to sit. We don't want to sit down and look at our problem and tell ourselves the truth and then agree amongst ourselves that we are ready to solve our problem. Our problem and the solution are in our hands. I'll rest my case here now. I'll allow others to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear brother, Ndubisi Maluka. Chinedu is here with us, and his hands are raised up. Chidera, can you talk? Nkiru, you are here with us. Make your own contribution. Okay, right. My dear brothers, thanks for the your own contribution from your own point of view. But we are all saying the same thing. What Ndigbo wants is a free, fair, equitable, and just society where everybody will be treated equal, where everybody, no matter your background or who you are or where you are coming from, have equal opportunity to aspire to any level. But the present day Nigeria, Nkiru, put your microphone on mute, please. But the present day Nigeria, seriously, we are based in Nigeria, precisely in Anambra State. Myself and Chinedu, we operate from Anambra State, Nigeria. Over the past 10 years or 11 years, when Chinedu came back from UK, you know, he has been on this media space advocating for a working system for their people. But the problem we have is there are some people who come and promise the masses of Ndigbo that will create a new system overnight, that will give you El Dorado. But the question is, how would you do that? That has been the problem. Somebody coming to say, we'll do this thing, but the person will not come to educate, to sensitize the public on the processes that are involved. The processes that will lead you to the desired destination. That is the problem we have in our land. And of course, the political class, the so-called political class, they are not strangers. They are one of us. Soludo was a lecturer before in UNN. From there, he went to Central Bank or consultancy work with World Bank and other international organizations before he went to Abuja, from Abuja to Central Bank. Obiano was a director in the bank before P2B recommended him for to contest for Anambra State governor. From there, he became governor. Obiano wasn't a politician before. So the problem we have is that the system you call Nigeria, as soon as you enter inside that government office, some of us, not here, but elsewhere in other platforms, have been in government. Nemo here with us has been an ambassador, I think ambassador to South Africa under Jonathan. So she has tested government and she has seen how government works. And so many other people, you know, but the question is that the moment you get there, I don't know. I used to ask them, is there any evil spirit, any kind of evil spirit that is beclouding our senses of reasoning that once we get there, we'll not remember those key things that we used to say? So I know a lot of us are saying, oh, let's have one voice. It's not possible. There's no way you have one voice. What we should be talking of, to have a loud voice, majority voice. There's no way you have 100 people, 100 of them will believe in one cause. Even the state of Israel, from historical point of view, when they were at the point of getting their own state, they still have their own brothers fighting against them. So, but at the end of the day, majority with international support have their way. So, why we call this platform Nemo is here because last time he visited the United States to receive an award or recognition, and kind of recognition. So I contacted her that we need to start this discussion. BVI is a large platform known by all the politicians down here in Nigeria. With 276 subscribers, BVI has a social media presence. And we are not afraid. We move around. All the governors, they know us. P2B, all of them, they know us. But the problem we have is that those politicians do not want what we want. What they want is that fraudulent system called Nigeria. Nobody is saying that we should dissolve Nigeria, separate Nigeria, but have a working system. There is no way Nigeria can work with this kind of command and control system, with this kind of sharing the cake. Every month you go to Abuja to collect oil revenue. No system develops that way. They all know that. And I've had discussions with them. Even P2B said, no, yes, when we get there. Soludo, before he became governor, we used to discuss. But now he's the governor, what happens? Even LSOT, yes, LSOT is trying. But I want a system. You have to carry people along. So, in a nutshell, from my own point of view, we need to develop a very loud voice with diaspora, those people in diaspora and those people here. That is the only way to go.
Let me say something that there's no way. Everybody that keeps saying Igbos must talk with one voice, that person does not know the Igbo. That's what I will answer. They don't know the Igbo. The core Igbo has an accordion of spirits. They collate by action. And the foundational reason why Nigeria can never work is because of the divergence of cultures. The Fulani and the Hausa are feudalistic by nature. They have a feudal system that is replica of what is the governance structure and the governance pattern in Nigeria today, where the emir or the sultan or the governor or the president gets the lagays and dispenses it, and the other one say, thank you, Saranka Dede. That's the feudal system we operate in Nigeria today. Yoruba have the Oba system. Yes, they recognize that their Oba has suzerain control, but their Oba does not have the same feudalistic import that the Fulani, the Hausa, the North has. Their Oba is, he governs by consensus, with his cabinet. The Igbo, on the other hand, govern by consensual action, the Aro Confederacy. They agree on one thing, they agree on a common goal, and they all go about their different ways to achieve it. Whenever they see themselves outside the country, or outside the climb of Nigeria, they immediately recognize their brother. So whenever they are outside the climb, they congregate and look out for each other. That is why all over the world, wherever you find the Igbo, they unionize. Either they unionize to help each other in business, to have their cultural activity, or to bring their dead home. So you can't say the Igbos are not talking with one voice because you want the Igbo man to behave like the Hausa or Fulani. That is not the Igbo. The Igbo soul is confederal by nature. So when people say the Igbo are not talking with one voice, they are disunited, I say they don't know the Igbo. When I was in South Africa and I had to go from prison to identify my dead and dying brothers. And I say, what are you doing here? From Johannesburg to, what's the capital of Thailand again? To Thailand, to Sao Paulo, to Kuala Lumpur.
To Bangkok.
Bangkok, yes. Yeah. Yes, to Bangkok. They all say, "Anyị na-achọ way. A na-achọ way." What are they looking for? Opportunity. To do what? To better themselves and their brethren. That is what the Igbo do when they have opportunity. When you look at the lines, I once wrote an unpublished paper. Who lines all the foreign embassies? Who sleeps in the gate of the foreign embassies by 4 a.m.? The Igbo male who is seeking to exit to get opportunity. And when they get opportunity, as per when we were said, the Professor Zodim Mangwala started the mantra, Akulue Uno. The Igbos have begun to bring their wealth home. They have responded to the call. They are responding to that call in varying degrees because of their confederal nature. But they are responding. And the Igbos have faced incredible uphill tasks. It took Professor Barton Naji 22 years to get federal approval to build geometric power. 22 years. What if he had died and his own money? Alex Oti, I hear, has sued the federal government for refusing to allow Abia State to build a seaport. This is the 21st century, for goodness sake. Have we all forgotten that the Petroleum Development Trust Fund awarded 26,000 graduate scholarships in various science disciplines to every single indigenous nationality in Nigeria and paid for those scholarships without a single Igbo name appearing? The PTDF, no single Igbo of 26,000 scholarships. No single Igbo was given a scholarship. The Igbos have faced incredible odds in Nigeria. So it is difficult to say they don't speak with one voice in a situation where you are continually battered. If you are a man married to 3 wives and every single night you beat them mercilessly, please tell me if they will speak with one voice. What they will each try to do, they will all go into survival mode to find out what is it that I will do to escape this beating. That's what would happen. Until you beat them to the point where they will now congregate and say, how do we retaliate? That was what how Igbos congregated and then started to speak up. And that was agitation and all that. Agitation was speaking up against injustice. The Igbos will not speak with one voice in the face of injustice. That is why you find them resonating with agitation. They may not necessarily come out holistically, all of us marching to condemn agitation. No, some of them that are elitist will play standoffish and leave the masses to go take the brunt of the soldiers. But in their soul, they will never come out to condemn it. That is why from the highest Igbo man to the lowest pure water seller, everybody says, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he resonates with their soul. And what do the Igbos see to identify? They see selfless sacrifice. The Igbos see a man who gave his all, lost his parents, lost his family, gave up his freedoms. The same hallmark that identified Emeka Ojukwu in Biafra, when he put his all, including his father's billionaire inheritance, when all he could have done for all his life, he could have lived a life of luxury. He put it all to fight for his people. Without saying a word to anybody, say, oh, I'm going to take all my father's money and put it in the Biafra war. The Igbos see action. They see sincerity, they know it, and they feel it. So they are a people that resonate with action. They are confederate in spirit. They identify their own. They don't have the feudalistic pattern of speaking with one voice, but they resonate. They resonated with Peter Obi when he came out and said, okay, let me go and articulate for you. They resonated with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu when he came and said, okay, let us speak truth to power. That wasn't Nnamdi Kanu's crime. They resonated with Akanu Ibiam when he told Queen Elizabeth II, take back your knighthood and your sword. I no longer need it. You kill my people. So the Igbos, when you say the Igbos don't speak with one voice, you don't know the Igbo. Because we live in a federated centrist system that has been have a military legacy, which is the bane of Nigeria, being the advent of power by an unschooled military, an inexperienced, unschooled military, young men who did not have the pedigree or background to manage the levels and trappings of power. And they saw power from the point of the gun and from the point of top-down centrist or authoritarian control. They ruined the country and they did not develop the country. And they gave rise to nepotism, favoritism, and all the trappings of the ills of power. They became Machiavellian in their management of power. That was what has degenerated to the mess where we are today. And the Igbos, in the sayings of Nnamdi Kanu, when he wrote, I wonder how many of you have seen the seminal work of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where he said that the governance structure for the Igbo will return to the confederal nature of their forefathers. And he began to describe the Amala and the Umunna system, where decisions are made by consensus. In Nnamdi Kanu's Biafra, there will be no political parties. Your Umunna will nominate you because the Umunna knows the thief among them, and they know the philanderer among them. And no person will agree for a thief to go and nominate him. Not this mess that is happening today. So I do not agree that the Republican Igbo do not speak with one voice. I think that those that say the Igbo do not speak with one voice do not understand the Igbo. Remember that in the entire history of the British Empire, that the Igbo were the longest it took the British Empire, the colonial army, to conquer. The colonial army could not break the long juju for 2 years. They lost 800 soldiers, the highest in the entire history of the British Empire. The Igbos held forth. Now, what has happened to the name Ifajuna? And how come it is now synonymous when you want to talk about saboteurs? They say, Ifajuna. How come the Igbo from Ahuda to Nsukka, from Aro to Arochukwu have adopted that synonym? How come when you say to any Igbo, everybody understands what you are talking about? The Igbos are a goal-oriented people who use diverse mechanisms to each according to his ability to pursue similar goals. They speak with one voice in action. They are not feudalistic by nature. So do not say that the Igbos don't speak with one voice and try to pigeonhole them into a culture that is anathema to them. The Igbo are Republican and the Igbo speak with one voice. Yes, we have a parasitic political class. When the time comes, they will answer their fathers what they did to their brethren. I thank you.
That's them more indeed. Nemo, Nemo Aribo. Nemo, Nemo, a strong voice indeed.
Mazi, I want to speak.
Okay, Kiru. Another Nemo. Another Nemo. Iron Lady. Iron Lady.
Good evening, Nemo. Adoroizi. Wherever you see a woman that is out to speak the truth, I love it. Because 90 about women riots, women came out and said the truth without fearing anybody. I love the spirit. Keep on. Ambassador, I greet Bazin Dubisi and our brother. I greet you people all. My name remains Nkiru Kanwiz. I greet everybody that is hearing my voice this evening. I concur with Nemo, the amalgamation. Whatever you did to Nigeria, even if you serve them from here to Lagos, from here, sweep all the places, they will reject you. After serving there, you must come back in disgrace. And they felt to know the truth. They know the truth, and they don't want that truth to save them. So I concur with the amalgamation. Now, everybody heard what is happening this very time. How can they sign electoral amendment? They are telling the whole world that we are not having network. Is it not a disgracing something to us? But when we are small, we can still develop our country through referendum. Let everybody, we want us to continue with it, the amalgamation, so that we have to come, they are brothers, but we have to come and develop our people, our states. Everywhere will be tied because most of them, they do travel outside. None of their children is here. Why? They enjoy in other countries that develop where the system is working. But here they are calling people fools. You can never do anything so that the politicians will trust you. No. Let's go with the amalgamation. so that killing, wasting of blood every time. Okay, in this very Nigerian constitution that we had, that says something about Islamic, and nobody, no constitution should attack anything or condemn anything Islamic. They have their own system in this country. Why Christians are nowhere to be found in Nigerian constitution. We have freedom of speech and everything. And when you want to develop your country or your geopolitical zone, like Igbo, like we are free to do so. We are brothers and sisters, but we have to go our own way. I rest my case. Nigeria, we have to rise up this time or never. We can never speak in the same voice, and we can never collect all our eggs and put it in one basket. I prefer the amalgamation than election, because this very election, whatever you do in Nigeria will read that election. I rest my case. I greet everybody in this very country. Everybody have to rise up. Both Yoruba, all the indigenous people, rise up. This is the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Iron Lady, for your submission. And I still want to appreciate Nemo. Nemo indeed. Emma, no voice Nemo like this, and they make a difference. And on are loud, very loud and clear. Oh yeah, but this is why we need a community, a platform like Anogida like this weekly. We'll still get together to speak out. So many of us Igbos are quite confused. Politicians they remove their lies, and they remove and moderate their actions and even their speech. You could imagine there was one honorable member in Anambra State that spoke against Professor Charles Solodo. The guy was bundled out of the house. He was suspended. You know, just today that I heard, the guy was begging, denied access to money. His allowance in the house was suspended. The youth whom the guy was fighting for were nowhere to be found. The guy was left in the cold. Today he was begging, and I heard that the house has started making move to recall him. So the problem we have is that the political class is quite, how do I put it? The gap between those in power and those in the street are quite wide. Those in the power don't even consider, they don't take us serious. Let me put it like that. They will say, talk on, and after talking, Ababio will say, after talking, after protesting, we'll be busy eating and enjoying in the house. Before then, let me put one record straight, because we have our followers in our YouTube channel and Facebook. And let's go to the governor of Abia State did not drag federal government to court on the issue of port building up on the issue of constructing a new port in Abia State. That's a social media hype and propaganda. But Abia State government has since denied that. We should understand that all these our governors are politicians. They wouldn't want to offend the power to be. LSOT may be trying for the people, but the fact remains that he is there with the federal government. So he did not drag any federal government to court. The second thing is Professor Bat Naji, it didn't take him 22 years to secure license. Power generation, transmission, and distribution. what happened is that that license was issued to him, given to him by Obasanjo administration when he was assisting Obasanjo to set up a power station powered by gas in Abuja. Then thereafter, Jonathan appointed him minister for power. It was at the process of privatizing, giving out federal government holding to private hands, that some powerful politicians pushed him out. He has to resign, and he faced the license given to him by Obasanjo. At the end of the day, Emeka Ofo, EEDC, won Eastern Distribution Network. That is the whole of Southeast, to distribute power in the whole of Southeast. Then I was in the bank, Access Bank. I was in the bank because Intercontinental, I was in Intercontinental and the Diamond Bank started funding that Professor Bat Naji. I think about 49 billion naira then, some 19 years ago. So when Emeka Ofo, so when Emeka Ofo got his own license, he told Professor Naji that his distribution network involved that area given to Professor Naji. That issue was not resolved. Professor Naji had to go to court, approach the court. Then it was court. They were in court for 9 years before Buhari settled the case out of court. Naji was made to pay Emeka for some huge sum of money in dollars. That was how the issue was resolved. So it has nothing to do with obtaining license. It is brother fighting brother. This our media platform, BVI, interviewed Professor Naji. Also interviewed Professor Ndigbo, the Minister for Power that replaced Professor Naji. No, this information is important for us to know that our suffering, nsogbu anyị nwere n'ala Igbo, ụmụ nwanne anyị bụ ndị Igbo nọ na politics. Ebe a na-azọ aka, ebe a na-azọ power struggle, ego ka a na-azọ. And ọkwa fanwa na-cause some of these confusions anyị na-afụ na Nigeria. So it's important for us to understand right now, electricity generation, transmission, and distribution, the three core sections in electricity management in Nigeria, have been handed over to state government. That is, it has been removed from exclusive list to concurrent list, meaning that governors have right now to issue license to myself, Ndubisi company, to go and generate power. But the only thing that is remaining is control of gas and mineral resources, like crude oil, mineral resources, issuance of licenses, is still domiciled with federal government. So we should, in public, should have this information so that we know where our problem lies and what we want and what we are doing. These, our governors and politicians, are our major problem. Then how do we solve it? How we solve it is by information, continuously passing the right information to the people. Because, you know, when you have information, you will be empowered. A lot of people are not empowered. A lot of people are empowered by fake news. Like this information now, Alexio has taken federal government to world court. The news will start trending. But we know that LSOT has not done that. LSOT is working with federal government. Or this issue that Agobozo, that man, Igwe, that spoke to the authority. Agbo's ambassador, Agbo's, we used to be in meetings, several meetings in Enugu. Yes, he's in sympathy with the struggle, but he's a system man. He has benefited and still benefiting from the system. It's just the frustration that on getting home at that age, 80-something years, the Igbo will see poverty written all over his people's face, frustration written all over their people's faces. Electricity is not there, jobs are not there. Of course, industries are not working. Even water are not working. Proper planning of cities are not working. And the ambassador is well traveled. He's an educated man, but he's benefiting from the Nigerian system. So he's in dilemma, state of dilemma, you know. So is that frustration that pushed him? He was agitated. Let me put it that way. The Igwe was agitated. Yeah, he has to give it to Ndigbo. But beyond that rhetorics, the question those of us in GGM, Good Governance Ministry, and BVI Chapter 1 is asking, Nnamdi Kanu is a messenger, is a carrier of a message. Nnamdi Kanu has a message. That message resonated with the people. The message resonated with the people. When we are talking about Nnamdi Kanu, let's always connect him with the message. What is Nnamdi Kanu's message? If you release him with the message, call him to conference table. He has to be on the table. He has to be on the table to discuss those messages that resonated with the people. Because if you release him and say, okay, Tinubu, take him to London. If you don't want him in Nigeria, you take him to Kenya. Even if you take him to London or take him to America, he will go there with the message. The message will stay connected with the people. So, Tinubu, reason Nnamdi Kanu, call him to round table. Let's discuss about the message. Nnamdi Kanu inspiration. Because that message touched all of us. So I think that's the message we are passing to our viewers this night. And to some of us here, we need to empower the people with the right kind of information. We are the part of the we are agitators. We are within Nnamdi Kanu. Chinedu BVI Chapter 1 is Biafra Voice International in London. In Nigeria, it was registered at Biafra Voice International. We are not hiding our face. We are here in Anambra State. We are here in Biafra land. Both DSS, police, army, they know us. They know that what we are doing is the right thing. We are not calling for war. We are only saying that agitation, self-determination is a political process. I want somebody to correct me. Any country that has gotten their independence outside political struggle. Maybe somebody, no one can put me right. Whether Yugoslavia or Southern Sudan got there depended by not being part of the struggle, not being part of political struggle. Are they part of the people that are advising the people, don't vote, don't be part of, we are Biafrans, we are not part of. So these are the things we have to put straight because people are confused. By the time we are giving them this information or the other that are not correct, we are just prolonging very simple issue. We have a very simple issue at hand. Nigeria is a dead country. Nigeria is not a nation state. Nigeria is just a business empire created by businessmen. We have allowed that business empire to last for 100 years because of our approach and methodology. Because if you pass the right information to the people are waiting, like de-amalgamate Nigeria. Let all the indigenous people come together and de-amalgamate the country. People are waiting for this message. Let's flood the message out. Because it's quite clear that Tinubu has already reached 2027 election. by this their law they passed yesterday. Let us stop deceiving ourselves. Tinubu has rigged the election. So I'm not interested in the election. Instead of wasting 800 billion naira to fund the election, in fact, people should tell him to continue. Why we do the right thing? I think I will rest my case here. I will expect all of us to make our final submission so that we'll close for today. Maybe by next week, we'll still come back to further this discussion because it's important to continue this education, sensitization, empowering our people. Thank you all.
May I respond to you by saying that maybe I used the wrong word, approval. But it took Batinnaji 22 years to struggle to get geometric power on stream. He had built that power station. It was ready by, I think, 2006 or 2008. It was already ready in Aba. And the turbine stood idle for over 10 years. It stood idle. And this is a country that is yearning for power. And yet power was looking at them because of political machinations of the parasitic, kleptomanic political class. Like Emekofo, they allowed that power station to be idle for over a decade. Very few countries in the world will tolerate that level of sabotage of a people. That said, it is also very unfair that a government that wants us to pay taxes by BVN, POS, money, everything, BVN, POS, everything is present, transmission. POS is financial transmission from point of sale. Why can we not use the POS to do voting? Transmission from point of voting. Since the BVN is not, the IREV is not going to work or whatever it is, POS doesn't affect network. So can they allow us to use POS to vote? So because this is a government hypocrisy. That is why when they say United States of Nigeria, I don't like that word united. Tell me what is united in real terms in Nigeria. The word unity is hypocrisy. So, and I am not a hypocrite. So we should stop using that word united when we discuss the reality of Nigeria. And we should stop trying to pigeonhole the Igbo in the culture of the Fulani or the culture of the Yoruba, who are monarchical. And by the way, if you don't know, it would be good also to tell the Igbo that it was Ukpabia Sika that introduced the concept of Igwe and Eze and Obi, because Gowon tried to centralize in order to be able to govern their cephalous Igbo. So the concept of the Obi-ship and Igwe-ship and Eze-ship was a post-military phenomena in Igbo history and hegemony. The Arab Confederacy knew no Igwe or Eze. The few Igwes and Ezes that existed were age-old, like Obi Onitsha or Ezaro. They were not everywhere like we have today, Obi Ife1 and Ekwueme2. Those are consequences of military centrism. So please, I thank you for this opportunity to express my views. I have no apologies for them. They are my views. There is nothing united about Nigeria. I call and I urge the de-amalgamation of Nigeria. And I thank you very, very much for having me on the platform. And for those our brothers and sisters that are in the political class enjoying on the sweat of their brothers and sisters, they should remember that the time of reckoning will come. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nemo. Ambassador Ayarogo, maybe a closing remark.
Thank you for letting me in. This will be my first time. I just want to go back a little to this assertion that Igbos must speak with one voice. Of course, like as we made clear, Democrats do not speak with one voice because, and non-monarchical people, we are described as Igbo democracy. So we don't speak with one voice, but we do have certain values, certain aims, certain objectives. Our forefathers had them, part of which was Igbo development. That's why you would see almost all of them working together, Emma Akbara and Co. We want a return of that system to emphasize on working together, not necessarily agreeing together, but working together to identify areas of key development factors, indicators, like energy generation, like agriculture, like transportation, things like, and security, things that have common impact on our development. If we agree on that, on those, a few of those, some of those things, and all work together, we would eventually get a Southeast, an Igbo land that is a pride to us, that you feel comfortable, more comfortable to come back to anytime you want to, not the one that you run away from. That you can come back with your money that you've made abroad and invest in it. So I would conclude by thanking you and encouraging you to keep doing what you're doing. Igbo togetherness is important for our development, and of course our both self-respect and also getting the respect of others. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. You've done justice to this topic under discussion. Nkiru, your closing remark. Chinedu, if you are back, we're gonna allow you to.
I remain in Nkiru. My closing remark to our people, Onya Jurada Juwe, because they are fighting all they can to see that P2B names will not be in the ballot paper. So, and I call that amalgamation a fraud and 419. I don't believe that we have a founding fathers. No, because most of the names they wrote there, some are 4 years, 2 years, 4 years and 2 years or 10 years child. They are still a sucking baby child. They can never sign paper. So that amalgamation, there is nothing like amalgamation, but not forceful marriage. So we are going for de-amalgamation. We have to fight for de-amalgamation because they don't want us. See, they have already reached 2027 election. We have to start both our brothers and sisters in diaspora and at home. We have to start to educate people that let's go for the amalgamation since they don't want a true and fair election. So, Egara George, Ejo Chicha, I remains in Kiro Kanwis, aka Iron Lady Darlon.
Thank you, Iron Lady. Chinedu, are you here? Michael, there's someone with them, Michael C. Asozo. Is that Chinedu?
No, it is not Chinedu, it's Michael C. Asos.
Ah, I was thinking it's our own Chinedu Asozo. Okay. But you know Chinedu Asozo?
No, I don't.
Ah.
I see his posts on the media.
Okay. Are you from Anambra State?
Yes, I am, but many Asuzus are not from Anambra State.
Ah, okay. Okay, you have the floor.
All right. Actually, me and Philip Umez, okay, my classmate in UI, for telling me that this forum that should join, sent me the link. I've listened to all that he said, and I thank God for it. I'm Monyo Okija.
All right, all right.
Now, Okija enwere ife a na-akpọ otu nwe obodo.
Okay.
That age group of mine, who are now in the 70-76 age group, handed over to Ijoma age group on the 5th of January. They are the current Otunwe Obodo. Okay. That's how we govern ourselves.
Okay.
And incidentally, the oldest man in my village is my eldest brother.
All
the
right.
Otunwe Obodo make decisions and passes it to the oldest man, Opara, to see that it doesn't conflict with the norms and traditions of our people. And it becomes law for us. That's our Republican nature.
Okay.
I spent, even though I come from Anambra State, I went to school in Enugu and I lived in Lagos, in Songota, in Bauchi as a young person. So I know Nigeria fairly well. Okay. And I have proteges from every tribe in Nigeria. I retired 5.5 years ago from the University of Ibadan. Okay. There are many things about Igbos we must be careful about. After the war, with all the things Babiasika set up and those who joined him after the war, started promoting Eze, Obine, Ifeni in Igbo land, which was going to neuter what our real culture is. With it arose the Eze Ndigbo everywhere. One Eze Ndigbo was arrested and shot of Shaki because he was stealing. People get money and they say Nafa Eze Ndigbo everywhere. Up to end of 2023, ndị Igbo nwere three Ezes, Eze ndị Igbo n'atọ, n'Ibadan alone. Towards the end of 2024, they had several meetings. They agreed to down tools. So they reformed Ohaneze ndị Igbo. In March last year, they invited me. They said they want me to be their grand patron. I say I don't do grand patron. I don't know what it is. I can be an elder to you. I can be an advisor. Because if Ndigbo have gone plenty of it. Between 2022 and 2024, we tried to form the network of Otumunna, Igbo intellectuals in the universities and the states in outside Igbo land. People who have seen other cultures. KMWK advice in the bank. 2 years, it didn't work. Last week, all of last week, I was in Maiduguri, and I saw Chigozie Nwobi, Professor Nwobi. That time was a lecturer, senior lecturer, and so on. He tried to help us, but it didn't work. I mean, you can't even get Igbo intellectuals to work. In the University of Jos, when they started, they considered that somebody from the Southeast, Onyibo, will occupy one of the DVC positions in Jos. Once that started working, they ran into camps. Izobazian, so the Otumunna and University of Jos split apart. This is how it occurs everywhere. Now, this refurbished Ohaneze Ndigbo, they called me. I went to their meeting in March to tell them how we lived in Nigeria before the war. The Igbo Town Union that decides and develops anywhere we are, and how all that got into trouble. And we can return to it. They agreed. But by November, one of them who was appointed the senior special advisor by Sheyi Makinde for Igbo affairs decided to pocket the whole of Igbo people. So there's Wahala there now. And this evening, I was to go and have a meeting with the executive for Ohaneze Ndigbo as refurbished, but they postponed it to Sunday. So the issue of Igbos is terrible. I'm in continuous talk with Demola Akimboye, the son of Akitoye, the son of Professor Banji Akitoye, the biggest intellectual behind Sunday Igboho and the Yoruba Nation struggle. And some of you who follow that struggle will know that at one time, Banji was talking with the Massop people, with IPOB and so on. And then suddenly he said, Igbo people are irresponsible, can't talk with them. Then he went away. And after, now he's seeking the same thing to talk better because he's looking for Yoruba nation, or at least the amalgamation of Nigeria. So there are all these movements, but I want to plead with all of us. And then praise anybody, please don't praise me if you know me. Lie. When I praise Kwende Madu, ya jikwe break, tinyekwa hydraulic. Michael Okpara was very good, but he did many disastrous things now that put Igbos in a bad state. Zeke did many things that were good, but he put Igbos into trouble. And we must know those things. Ojukwu did many things for Igbos, but he was one of those who spoiled the coup and helped people turn it into an Igbo stuff. You don't see the same thing. Advice, don't surround yourself with Hausa Fulani. He did, and then they snuffed him off. So all our leaders outside of Ndebsen Habes and Opin and all of those, even in countries that had aristocracy, the aristocracy have been swept to the background, the ceremonial thing. Over there, Ndigbo, who didn't have it in their culture. Promote. It's such an anachronism. I can't understand it. So part of the trouble of the Igbo race are the uneducated Igbos who have money, who create trouble everywhere. When there was the January 15th coup, for good reason, anybody who lived in North Nigeria, Western Nigeria, and Eastern Nigeria, we know that the coup, nobody should abuse those young people. They were idealistic, everybody knew it. And Ojukwu, the Talakawas in Kano, we are rejoicing. And they were going to mob the Adebayo. Ojukwu, as commandant of the army there, took Adebayo in custody for safety. When the Igbo Talakawas rejoiced, then it turned to be, an Igbo coup. And they did it for good. So intellectuals need to be educated. And those Talakawas, those people who have money but they didn't go to school, if you look at the media, see how they abuse everybody left, right, and center and multiply the hatred. Because Nigeria is a country held together by a common fear of your industrious nature or hatred of boasting unnecessarily for nothing. Those two ends of the spectrum need to be educated. Plenty of education. The international involvement is important. So those of you who have access and doing it, because thank God, all you have proposed is good, but the work to do for it is enormous. Whether it's decolonizing Nigeria, because we are living in a new colonialism of Fulanis. And everything they are doing here is because Ahmadu Bello, he was in his plan. He was speaking it from the 1940s. He didn't hide it, but nobody tackled it because I would thought with Michael Agashi's advice, if he educated everybody, they will rule Nigeria. So British people told him it won't work like that. Ahmadu Bello, don't worry. Just use the indirect clue we use for you. It's by voting. And they dashed them population. And we know it. But people remember when Jonathan told our brother, who was chairman of NBL, to be in charge of census, he was advised not to make noise about it. The very first time he was about there, he told everybody that this time around, there will be correct census. They will know the proper population of Nigeria. The Fulani said, this man has come. If he's not removed, there will be no peace in the country. And he was removed now. So there will be peace. So Ndigbo, those who are in a position to lead, if we are praising people, fine. I praise the Kwafa for if ever metal of ma. In Kefana metal of ma, I so that we don't repeat it. And we must work on those who keep talking nonsense to other people. We don't need it. And our elite, is become a culture. What shall we do to it? Thank you, and over. Philip, thank you very much for letting me know this exists. I will be listening in. I just wanted to make that point. There are thorny issues for us. Thank you, and over.
Yeah, thank you, my dear brother, Michael Asuzo. He represents the opinion of this platform and represents the opinion of Chinedu Asuzo, who is the face of this media platform, BVI Channel 1. Because Emma, like Oku before Opo, also na ị nwere onwe gị ga-esi na ịmara onwe gị. Enwego a lot of misinformation over the past 10 years. When I joined Chinedu, now I was a banker, joined because injustice, I hate him injustice with passion. What is driving me is passion for just society. He made the right thing, due processes. I always believe in due process, you know. So over the years, I've seen all kinds of emago for fake news, propaganda, misinformation, even among the informed, educated class, people in their respect na hagola how they exposed. How on they share fake news on social media? At times, I keep on wondering. Anyway, it has to do with our people. Our people are emotional too much. Are emotional. So that is why some of us, if we want to talk a public platform, we always guide what is coming out from our mouth, our utterances. We always guide it. We're always conscious of what we say. Because what you say will destroy people. So on that note, I want to appreciate everybody. It's unfortunate that Chinedu, because Chinedu won another meeting somewhere in Onisha. Right now, if Mbobata here, he was inside his car when he came in, and he has gone back to that meeting. Next time, I believe you'll be here to anchor the meeting because he is the voice of the people. He is the mouth. He is the people. A lot of people, man, need follow where young people precisely in eastern part of Nigeria. He's also a street person, you know. So this information I pass to the public, you know, is very important. Mostly when we have all of you here, because we are pleased and blessed to have our dear ambassador, Uche Ajunchukwu Nnemong. We are honored to have you here, and we will not take it for granted. Please, we will not take it for granted. Anytime if you are here, we'll give you time to talk to us and talk to our viewers. So other people, and a lot of the questions Anajo, like now president of Igbo extraction. What would the president of Igbo extraction do for our people? Obasanjo was president 8 years. He was, even as a general, he was not able to reform Nigeria or to change Nigeria to the right system of government. Tinubu, Buhari was there for 8 years. If you get to Katsina, people are still mad. Their beggars name increase every day. What has he done for his people? So it's not about presidency. It is about the system. It is about having a working system. If we cannot be together, of course, we cannot be together. But how do we de-amalgamate? That how, when I was with Nnamdi, even in Kuja, I asked him that question, how? All these things we are saying, Israel will come, Russia will come. How? Because Trump loves America first, American interest first. If we are not ready to save our people, nobody will come and save us. So the thing is that we have to give our people the right information. We have to, even if it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it's a process. But we have to be consistent, be truthful to ourselves. Not igwe ndị mmadụ ihe ha chọrọ ịnụ ka ha wee like ya ma onye anyị ego. That is what is driving this platform. And onye ọbụla ma anyị ma na anyị dị consistent for the past 10 years or 11 years as case may be. So I want to thank everybody here, and we will still have this time again, maybe by next week, Thursday. But if I were before that time, I'll communicate Nemo so that or pass message to others. Thank you all. And good night to everybody.
Yes.
Mm.